Raise it up, why? Raise it up. Raise it up, why? Raise it up. Hey, raise it up, why? Raise it up. Raise it up, why? Hey, raise it up. Hey, raise it up, why? Raise it up. Raise it up, why? Raise it up. North side, raise it up. South side, raise it up. East side, raise it up. West side, raise it up. 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 North side, raise it up. South side, raise it up. East side, raise it up. The west side, raise it up. 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 Raise it up.
3, 2, 1.
Hey loves, hey loves, hey loves. My name is Wyann. I also go by Y, and this is another incredible episode of Raise It Up Y, the podcast. We are coming at you the final Thursday in November 2024. In an episode, we are asking a question as the title: Is love blind? That's our question. It is a play on a popular show. And you'll hear more about that in the Wyann's Words of Wisdom. I'm keeping it sort of quiet today, breaking the fourth wall. My baby nephew, Mr. Ryder Ray, is in the back of this house going through teething and sleeping and gas, then sleeping, then wedding, then sleeping. So when you have a 5-month-old in the house, you're a little quieter. I'm learning in real time. But yeah, this whole episode is brought to you by Auntie Vibes. Hello. For anyone who is new here, thank you for your non-refundable time and energy right here in the start of this pod. For my OG loves who have been here since we started back in 2019, this year will mark the 6-year mark that we, am I lying? 2019 to 2024? I'm not lying. It's 5 years. Yeah, 5 years. Girl, who I think I am? Wait. 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024. This is 6. You want to know why? If you do 2024 minus 2029, wait.
19.
So I taught math at one point, but that's not this point, okay? If we're going to just keep things quite honest. And you keep giving me a check.
Okay.
Is that okay? Because I keep... the twins are twinning, okay, in 2024. Yeah, but for all of you OG loves who have been here since the start in 2019, I have to say thank you. This has been a hell of a ride. I am so rider in the back. I'm so thankful for all of you all who continue to come visit in Love Culture and who are participants in the Love Culture community. Very, very thankful. Raise It Up was where OGs, Raise It Up Y is where OGs kick game to real ones only. OGs are original guides. They are the educators of my space, and real ones are students. These are people who understand where they are okay with where they are, and look forward to going up. And when we say we raise you up, what are we doing? We raise up your self-awareness, your vibration, and your capacity for love, which is knowledge. 2024 has been really big on raising our capacities for love, which is knowledge for self. And this episode will contribute to that as well. Raise It Up Y is the home of Love Culture. Love Culture is the support people, listeners, watchers, contributors of this space on all platforms, on social media, here on this podcast, and when we have live events like we did a couple months ago. That was just 1 month ago. Wow. This this month was a long year. Excuse me? Okay. But yeah, so we love to spread non-corny positivity, aka real or authentic positivity, from the West Coast to the world. And all of the love say, rockets up on these hoes. Very thankful for everybody here, whether watching on YouTube or listening anywhere you can consume this podcast. I appreciate you. We're going to get into this episode. And if you've been here a while, you know that we start every episode with something called grounding. Grounding is a therapeutic technique that is used in order to make sure you're separating the space where you were from where you are. And where we are right now is in Wise World. Okay, if you follow the at Wyann page, WYANNA page on Instagram, you know I call it the Wyann land, capital LA, of course, on the land. But yeah, this is where the therapeutic side of my therapeutic edutainment gets to come out and play. And I get to make sure that we are in the building like we think and we say we are. So, grounding, take some time, be here with me. I want you to hear my voice. I want you to feel your feet. Bring your awareness down, wiggle your toes, bring it up through your body, touch your nose. And you're just doing that to be silly and to be regularly human and acknowledge that you're here. Breathe a breath in. Go ahead and let it out. Do that again, in through your nose, out through your mouth. Take a moment. Own this. This is a miracle we call life. That you are living, you are winning just by being a part of this life. By spending this time with my voice right now, you are investing into your betterment. I'd like you to sit with that and feel proud. Let's go up. Not going to waste no time getting right into it. Break It Down is a portion of the podcast where I usually break down something in hip hop culture, usually uncovering the genius that already exists right there in hip hop culture. And today is no different. We just had an election. 2024 is an election year. And on my previous episode, episode 75, entitled I'm Not Your Fan, right in the beginning of the pod, I kind of encouraged folks to consider their thoughts about one of the candidates. If you didn't know, in 2024, America had its first female candidate run for presidency, the closest to actually being really viably considered for the presidency in our history. And that woman happened to be Black and Southeast Asian, or just a woman of color, I guess we could call it. And I had a public announcement for Black men who, in certain key voter states, there were reports from different sources I listened to, and just, personal interaction with men, and Black men at that, Black entrepreneurial men, Black men with their own platforms or their own businesses, or, just these dudes that love hip hop like me, but also not no and not but and also are interested in the betterment and the advancement of their situations as well as their Blackness. All right, cool. So the rumor was lots of Black men weren't considering voting for the female candidate. And listening to this podcast, the election has happened and our 45th president has returned to presidency. Therefore, the female candidate is clearly not, or was clearly not, the victor of that presidential campaign. I consume a lot of hip hop related platforms. My favorite being the Joe Budden podcast. I think everybody knows that. I have a lot of JBP loves. I think half of my YouTube following, I'm not sure what my numbers are right now, but half of it came from when I was featured on that episode of Joe Budden's pod, and got a call from the guys. At the time, there were only guys on the show, and it was a pretty hilarious interaction. So those gents and I are, in my heart, we friends, you know. But let me say this: I was listening to a recap of Joe's pod, as well as listening to some of my homeboys. Again, we're united by hip hop. However, we come from different walks of life. And these are people who are on the East Coast. These are people who are in states that sometimes vote red and sometimes vote blue. I told you all last episode, and I'm going to repeat myself, I am not a political lover. I'm not amazingly tuned in and keyed in with all politics. I am smart, though. And I mean smart by way of common sense, like master's degree, like I don't just look at something for face value. I actually research and see things behind what is being shown. And not only that, I'm in the entertainment space. And especially since our 45th president has been a thing in this country, politics, like serious politics, the presidential candidate is supposed to have a certain level of reverence and couth and decorum and education and non-felony convictions and things of that nature. Our presidency has now become somewhat of a Justin LaBoy slash the Shade Room Instagram account reality TV show vibe. It's entertainment, long story short. I say that because when I'm in a space that's not dedicated to education, but I realize that I'm learning, I know I'm learning because I'm a part of the education system. I was an avid student, I am a professor, and I'm an avid learner. So game recognize game, educators recognize education, and entertainers recognize entertainment. I know when consumer facing games are at play. I happen to know a few people in the entertainment industry at large, not just the music industry. So when I make certain calls and it's like, hey, do you stand on what you said? Fill in the blank, fill in the blank. Oh, no, I got a check for fill in the blank. Good to know. Keep it pushing. I love it. Get it how you live it. It is what it is. But listening to the Joe Budden podcast break down the election, there was a point at which, almost exacerbated and frustrated, Joe ends up blurting out, like, now that the presidency is done, I have to say it, I felt offended by how disengaged and unspoken to as a Black man I felt for the female candidate. And three other gentlemen, two Black, one white, so a total of 4 men on that podcast. I'm sorry, 5. I forgot flip. 5 men said they all felt this way. There was another gentleman, Mark Lamont Hill, a new addition to Joe's podcast, more a political pundit than not. He disagreed with the other 5 men on the show. However, I have a breakdown from CBS News, and I just want you to hear some of these stats, and I'm gonna get right back to Joe, Mark Lamont Hill, Ish, Ice, Flip, and Parks. I'm gonna get back to them in just a second. In 2024's election, 55% of men voted red. 53% of women voted blue. 60% of white male voters voted red. 53% of white female voters voted red. This is where I come to this podcast and me and the address I made last podcast and why I'm talking about Joe and all these men and black men at that. 77% of black men voted blue. The female candidate represented blue. Overwhelmingly, almost 80%. This is a C plus in certain, educational spaces. 77% is like a C plus. I am telling you, that is an overwhelming amount of support for a candidate. Only heightened by black women voting at 91%. 91% of black women voted blue. I need you guys to hear that a lot of gentlemen who are black, who identify with hip hop, who weren't paid to outwardly say something opposing the blue side, okay, wanted to see a black woman as the president of the United States. So Joe, I come back to Joe, Ish, Ice, Flip as black men and Parks as a white man, but I come back to them to say, these gentlemen are people who all voted blue and all also said, I did not feel engaged by this first female of color presidential candidate when her campaign is seeking to reach me. That's a problem. I say that's a problem because if pop culture wants me to quote unquote believe women or believe black women when they say things, then damn it, we're not about to continue. Notice I say the word continue because it's already done as like as a rule. It's an unspoken norm that when a black man speaks, we say, that's not what you mean. What you meant to say was ... In episode 75, I said, if you don't consider voting for a black woman, it might not be because of this black woman you don't know. It might be because of a black woman that you do know. Those were my words. And I'm going to come right back to that statement. And I'm talking now not to black men because I saw after the election, some of the black community tried to blame the 23% of black men that didn't vote for the female candidate. This was your fault that we didn't. Girl, shut the fuck up. How about that? All 91% of your black asses, ladies, black women who I saw go on a tear about black men, you are the furtherance of the Willie Lynch letter of how to enslave a people. In case you missed it, find any one difference and exacerbate it to an embarrassing extent. Exacerbate any difference. Pit the old against the young, the light against the black, the light against the dark-skinned, which is colorism, the smart against the dumb, the old against the young, the fat against the thin, the whatever against the whatever. But I know the men against the women is another one. And what I need people to hear is when times get crunchy, like I guess the black plight in this country feels it might be because the 45th president has returned. When times get crunchy, the real you is on full display. So for the attacking black feminine voices that I read and saw and muted and blocked all over my social media, if a black man, the 23% that didn't, because overwhelmingly black men did support this black woman, boo on you. Your reaction to decisions made that didn't fall in line with something you thought someone else should have done because someone behaved in a way differently than you thought should have happened, I am letting you know right now, you're the problem. Not the 23% of black men that didn't vote for the blue side, the 91% of Black women that did vote for the blue side. If you're looking at your brother, your uncle, some other Black billionaire man as the problem, baby girl, you are the problem. When times get rough, finding blame in someone else is not your answer. If you want to see someone be reached out to, because Black men from Joe and Ish and Ice and Flip and even our white beautiful man named Parks on that show, these are 5 men on the largest Black audience worldwide broadcast that we have in podcasting. The largest, 5 million and some change views of people worldwide per week. Only Joe Rogan is killing that in the podcast space. And he out broadcasts news stations and television shows. So he's an anomaly. So the next feasible thing is a Black man named Joe Budden. His show is telling people from the blue side, hey, your campaign didn't reach me. I didn't feel included in your moment. I still voted for you, and I wanted to feel more inclusion in this what would have been a historical moment. It is a slap in the face to not reach out to a Black male podcast outlet outside of Charlemagne and the Breakfast Club. That's one. Great. And you've done that platform several times as VP. Honey, when you're trying to become the president of the United States and you need all of the vote that you think you want from Black and brown people, you needed to go to the culturally relevant spaces. This goes back to the beef from earlier this year when Kendrick Lamar says, baby, you are not like us. You don't speak to the culture, which was Kendrick's entire point. His entire point was the fact that there was someone who was and there was another person who wasn't speaking to culture. In this campaign, the red side spoke to the culture and got the votes. You want to know how I know? 55% of Latino men voted for a president who most of his policy seeks to usually not include a brown man. You want to know how I know? Men 18 to 29 years old, 49% voted for that red side, the 45th president of the United States. And I need you to know the other biggest portion of folks that voted for the 45th president of the United States to return to office was people with no college degrees. 50 and 51% were people with 99K and under income a year. Once you reach the 6 figures, 51% of those people voted blue. But let me let you guys know something. 55% of people with college degrees voted blue. Let me tell you something. Education and diversity, blue. Who doesn't have in this economy and in this space people with under 6 figures, which is most of America, as we clearly see who just voted for their president, and a bunch of people who don't need all the rhetoric and the hype? Connect with me. I'm telling you, I've been looking for a job for 3 years. Yes, our unemployment rate is very low, but you also have people with master's degrees working at Starbucks. There is something going on with our economy right now. Even though certain things look good, there are people who wanted to be spoken to. And clearly, overwhelmingly, men felt heard by the red candidate, not the blue one. And if we're looking at hip hop, you have Cardi B, Meg Thee Stallion, and members of Destiny's Child pubbing your agenda consumer facingly. I know certain people in the industry, including Joe Budden, including Questlove, who spoke directly with my students for my USC course about why it's important to vote for this blue candidate. These weren't anywhere frontward facing and consumer facing and loud enough for what you needed. Little technical difficulty right there. The conversation got a little too real, and 45 just blew my whole electricity right now. So that's a joke. For people who might be new to my space, this entire platform was begun at the request of Black male college students, athletes at that, student athletes, who recognize that by listening to hip hop music and having these types of conversations where we kind of explicated lyrics and picked things apart, that they realized they gained from this music in a way that their homeboys on the block did not. And in fact, their homeboys on the block were hurting themselves using the same music as their either champion music or alibi or reasoning, scapegoating. And that's a huge disconnect. So if anyone is hearing these sentiments and it sounds kind of like, whoa, this is very supportive of a Black male voice, it should be. It was begun, it was started at that space, and it has never stopped because hip hop was started by a lot of Black young men. Yes, there were ladies there as well. Overwhelmingly American young Black men and brown men of disenfranchisement are the originators of this space. It makes sense that someone who studies this for a living would have a space that amplifies sentiments of people who are clearly feeling unheard. I'm sorry. I wanted to bring that to the forefront. One, because I encouraged what some said would be, oh, you know, Black men don't vote for Black women, never have supported Black women, and 77% did. That means the 91% of Black women who tried to chastise, not all 91%, I'm saying members of the 91% of Black women that voted blue who attempted to chastise Black men saying you didn't support enough, you're clearly mistaken. And that same blame game / dismissal of the Black man and his voice is probably why a lot of them could have, if they did, felt leery of supporting a Black woman because she stood in by proxy of a Black woman in his life that may have made him feel the exact same way. So I hope that explanation and that conversation in this break it down was clear. I know we had our technical difficulty, but I wanted to make sure that I landed that plane and made sure that it was seen that it can get a little different when you're looking to unify Black and brown voices with the particular figure at the helm of a movement that doesn't see, seemingly, its campaign doesn't see the folks they think they're reaching out to. It's a disconnect there. And moving out of the break it down and into a Douxadiddy, I wanted to share with you all a poem. I haven't done a poem in a minute, since the beginning of the year, maybe the middle of the year. And this poem is not in any of my books. This was a write out. Now, my second poem book is called Write Out. However, the poem you're about to hear doesn't come from that book, but it's a process letter, if you will. It's a piece of art that helped me process a tough time as my heart was feeling unseen. And I wanted to share it here in this episode because it's going to introduce us to Wyann's words of wisdom, which will follow directly after this Douxadiddy. A Douxadiddy is where I share original art on this podcast. Shouts out to I Love the Do, who shares the name with me, Douxadiddy. This poem is a write out that I call Different. Different. I've never read this out loud, so now I'm already feeling a little exposed. But I feel like that's also an indicator that I'm doing it right. And you'll see why as we go into answering the question, is love blind, in these Wyann's words of wisdom that will follow. I like wearing. Thank you so much. My baby girl said, you got this. Thank you, Onette Ashe. And Cup of Sue is in the other room, of course. My angels are here with me, thankfully. I like wearing mascara. It leaves evidence I've cried. Residue to show the truth after I've lived in a lie. I've been down. I tried. And I don't know how much more I could be there. Embarrassed ain't the word I felt when I learned his ego couldn't show that he cared. Is he there? Is he here? Did the nigga off himself? In my life, that would be right. But as I write, I couldn't help but think what shit would or could have been like when we would walk at midnight and I would uncover parts of me. Parts of me I ain't seen since I was mid-height. I can't lie. That shit bites. But different than I thought it would. It's like I have still such a peace where usually I maybe should feel some type of emptiness. Like an empty nest syndrome in a way. Because my body was his home. And when he'd come, inside he'd stay. Now I'm feeling a way that I never have before. I don't want back what we had. I want something different, something more than this. Shit, where's the splits? I need to know how much he owns. If he's credited for shit that I said, I need my lawyer on the phone. This is right, never wrong. I'm looking in and writing out. This that type shit that my whole vibe is about, you know. Cash and chips. I am out. I feel regretful this day. I just thought things were different. And I thought he felt the same. Is love blind? Wyann's words of wisdom. Love is blind, just not. Love is blind, just not like how you think. Love is blind, just not like how you think. You've never had to fall in love with you. You've never fallen in love with you. Not introspectively, you know, can I fall in love with myself like this podcast talks about? No. You've never smelled your dirty socks after the gym when you figured you could just run a couple more errands and then you also just had to go pick up this and that. Then you forgot about that phone interview that you just did in the car because you didn't have to be on camera. And then you come home, and you take those dogs out of their cage, huh? You take your shoes off. And you're immune to your smells and you. It's not until you have a partner that says, hey, wow, did someone just open a bag of Funyuns mixed with corn nuts? Cool Ranch Doritos. Because it smells insane in here. That's a level of aloofness you might have to dating you, like you might be immune to certain smells that you've lived with all of your life. You talk to someone in New Jersey as a person in Los Angeles with a whole bunch of air and mountains and different terrains and space. I go to New Jersey, or I land in New Jersey, and not even just New Jersey, in New York as well. I'll definitely pick up scents that are so different than something that I'm used to. It's not what I would think is what clean smells like or what fresh smells like, because I have a different concept for those things, just given the environment, just given the terrain that I come from, right? You've never had to fall in love with you. Interpersonally, you don't know the quirks that you do. More importantly, you don't know where you struggle with worthiness. You don't know where you exude more of your ego than you're maybe willing to take a look at and be honest with yourself about, transparent with yourself about, vulnerable with yourself about. It takes two to know one. You guys have heard me say this on this podcast before, because it was one of my favorite sayings that my instructors in my master's program talked about as I was learning to become a therapist. Some form of a relationship is almost always what brings people into formal therapy. And because of that, it's an indicator that says there are blind spots that you possess that you don't know you live with and or have, because, as these Wyann's words of wisdom are, you've never had to fall in love with you. Is love blind? Yes. But not in the way you think. And this is, of course, a play on Netflix's show Love Is Blind, hosted by Nick Lachey and his wife. The thing is this. The viability of Love Is Blind, the show, is the fact that a bunch of consumers, a bunch of people all over the world get to see what therapists are trained to know in a few interactions with people. There are some of us who have watched certain seasons of this show, and you're looking, and for anyone who doesn't know, Love Is Blind is a reality-based TV show where hopefuls fall in love in a couple weeks, sight unseen, and then meet physically as fiancés. You have to propose to your partner and engage them in order just to see them. And the most difficult part of this particular show, as they kind of break it up in a couple different phases, the most difficult part of this show is when they try to match the experience they had with this person sight unseen, when all they had was energy, words, connection, storytelling, things that create intimacy, time spent. You don't have your phone while you're in these things called pods. You don't have distractions. You're not at work. This is you being in one place. You are being. All right, so cool. After you leave here, you go on your honeymoon, which is somewhere nice. And then the tough part comes. Everybody gets their phone back. Now you go back to work. Now you have all of the rigmarole. It's you back in your regular environment. This is no more rose-tinted glasses. You are you, for real. Not the version of you that was focused looking for love, but now I'm focused. I've got love, but I also got a job, and I have family, and I have customs, and I have things that I like, and I have people that I want to impress, and I have things that I think I do more importantly than be with you. I also have people that I didn't realize what their opinion of me and my relationship choices matters to me so much about. So now I'm switching up because we aren't in the pods. This isn't love, lovely people, just being. This is now doing the work, being integrated in your regular life with new love. All of us will have to do this if it's something that we want. So, as you check your temperature with one another to see if you're physically compatible, if your lifestyles are compatible, if you're a person that finds the same amount of worthiness in yourself, even when you're amongst people who sometimes you don't realize you're hanging out with people that don't like you as much as you think they do, or you have friends that their opinion matters about your partner more than your opinion does about your partner. It's a whole bunch that the consumer gets to watch at home and see that people like me and other folks who have masters of social work degrees or who are licensed in clinical and practicing, or psychologists and doctorate holders, everybody who does this for a living, we know out the gate, off the rip, who's probably going to make it. Who's hiding which skeletons. Once you start getting into, we see the parents and then dad is present, mom is not, and then we're wondering why the person on screen is a little more dominant, a little less open and vulnerable. Well, mother figures generally scaffold all of your emotional development, and father figures really hone in on your identity, help you hone in on your identity. Here's the thing. Those are called loosely mommy and daddy issues. And when you grow up, you reconcile those mommy and daddy issues because that's now called your baggage. We've talked about bag ladies on this podcast before, and there are some bag gentlemen as well. You might not be responsible for why you're carrying all of the weight on your heart, your lack of worthiness, whatever it is. You might not be responsible for why you're holding your bags. But once you recognize that you have your bags, you are responsible for being able to put them down. They're in no one else's hands but yours, right? And so why I love Love is Blind is because sometimes it's the first time people get to see what therapists get to see about folks and how they fall in love. I also want to do a shameless plug and say this is also why spaces like my podcast, Raise It Up Why, are so important. You need to deal with you before two become one. I know a lot of folks that wait to listen to my pod when they have some form of a crisis in their existence. But when everything is good, shit, they out pussy popping and dick wagging and whatever else they doing, right? They living it up out on the town. And it's not until something God smacks them that they say, hey, why? You got an episode on depression? Which I don't. I need to do one. I'll do that next episode. why? You got an episode on imposter syndrome? Yes, I do. Featuring the masterminds back from 2022, I think. But the time to prepare for wars is during times of peace. If you wait to get ready for a battle, once war is declared, you're getting your ass handed to you. But if, while everything is cool, you just keep your little workouts up, you look at new ways to Krav Maga and Jiu-Jitsu, and you handling your firearms properly, and you just kind of keep it on your mind. Just kind of, just kind of do your thug thizzle. That person will always be ready for combat. And I'm not saying that love is a battleground, but what I do know is that all is fair in love and war. And there's a reason that people comparatively keep love and war in the same sentence. It's sometimes a big ass fight. It's a big battle. Your love with yourself intrapersonally is sometimes what I called earlier this year after Drake and Kendrick and the beef therein was the forever beef, ego versus self. I want you guys to know something. Having a therapist doesn't mean that you're healing. It means that you're paying someone to listen to you squawk and talk. There is no substitute for the work. What is the work? We've talked about this earlier this year. The work is looking in the mirror, having honest dialogue and conversations, keeping an accountability circle where people who actually authentically see you really know you, and they can tell you when you're being bullshit. What does Dr. Brene Brown call it? Speak truth to bullshit. It's hard to hate up close, move in. Those types of things are all a part of doing the work. Shadow work. Shouts out to Carl Jung and everybody who's a Jungian sort of a therapist. Embracing the things that, what do the kids say? Cringe? Ugh, I hate that word. But embracing the things that make you want to hate yourself. Allowing yourself to safely experience the feelings that you're telling yourself, I can never feel that because I'll never be a good person if I feel that. You need to experience that feeling. You need to get into it. Now, if we're talking about hurting other people or yourself, no, I don't condone any of that for those types of individuals. But if you are normatively, cognitively well and functioning, high global assessment of functioning, you feel well and are well, and you're just afraid of failure, or you're dealing with feelings of unworthiness because you don't think you are lovable or capable. Play out your worst case scenario. Here's how this episode is about to bring it all home in 360. Some people woke up this past week. It's just Veterans Day, so happy Veterans Day for everybody. Some people woke up this past week with their worst fears confirmed. The 45th president returned to the United States. Now what? Some people, I'm going to move to Africa. I'm going to move to Canada. No, you're not. You wouldn't fact check a meme. You're not picking up your things and moving. That requires a discipline that you do not own, possess, or have evidenced to yourself or anyone else. Knock it the fuck off. Respectfully and disrespectfully. How about embrace the scary thing? How about find peace in the chaos? It's the paradox of life. And since I've been quoting so much of Dr. Brene Brown's Braving the Wilderness book, go read it. Dr. Brene Brown, DSW, Doctorate of Social Work, researcher in Texas at a I think the University of Texas maybe, but she's an extraordinary human. Has the same degree as me, higher, but same line of work as me. The reality is you need to listen to Raise It Up Why once a month, because that's just called maintenance. You need to journal every morning for like 10 minutes because that's a part of maintenance. That's a part of seeing what comes out of you, what's in you, who you are, and finding a way to say, whoa, I didn't even know that thought was in me. I didn't even know that sentiment was in me. I didn't know I felt so strongly for this topic, for this person. Damn. I only know about 5 feelings. I could be feeling something different for this situation. And because I never explore feelings, I don't even know what I'm feeling. These are the types of topics we discuss on this podcast. It's a great way to kind of weave some therapeutic stuff into your life on a consistent basis, only once a month, because don't nobody want to be preached at on some psychoeducation shit for once a week, every single week. Hey, respectfully, I do this for a living. And guess what? The only thing I listen to consistent is Joe Budden's podcast. Why? There's enough bullshit in it to keep me entertained. I don't need to be spoken smartly to. And I'm a smart bitch. I love smart shit. You know what I'm saying? Like every morning. How about this? To keep it a stack with you, the Dr. Brene Brown conversations that I'm telling you right now come from my brain food. Onette and Susie know I listen to brain food every day for at least 10 to 15 minutes. This is all the things that I do in my power hour in the morning. It's about 10 to 15 minutes though. How long do I listen to Joe Budden Pod? 3 and 4 hours. Ta-da. Several times a week. I'm a Patreon subscriber. Hello. At the highest level. I can listen to that entertaining, like antagonistic, hilarious banter for hours where I can take in Dr. Brene Brown, Jay Shetty, Dr. Joe Dispenza, and everybody that I research about 10 to 15 minutes early in the day just to keep, okay, Wyann, my affirmations in the morning, you are a smart bitch. You are a smart bitch, right? That's happening right there early in the morning, right? Okay. And then after I establish who I am, I get to go out and wow. Never go too far, but wow. Love is blind. Just not blind like you think. You've never had to fall in love with you. And if you're wondering why love keeps going topsy-turvy for you, it might not be in everyone else that you meet. It might be in the magnet inside of you attracting the topsy-turvy experiences, regardless of who you attract. Maybe peace and levity and understanding with a little excitement, a little fun, sexiness. Maybe those are things that you need to practice in your life alone such that you can pull it into your experience with or without a partner. With or without the one. That was another thing I was talking to some of my girls about. In Gen Z, everyone's trying to date for a husband at like 22. Get the fuck out of here. Go make some bad decisions. Get all the curable shit and have a fucking vibe. Have a time. Go to a house party where they don't play shit but ain't no fun. And all these niggas and all these hoes in here, somebody here gon' fuck. Like, go have some fun. Get bumping and grinding. You understand me? And if you couldn't hear me say bumping and grinding without what the kids say, cringing, then you're not who I'm talking to, because that hypersensitive bullshit is why you're not having fun. Music is fun. The early 2000s and the 90s were fun. Woo! I had a time. And now I'm settled down. And even if I wasn't yet settled down, I'm still fine. If I can wake up and look in the mirror and say I love me, I'm good, yo. But I think that's something that we all are dealing with. And I know it because shows like Love is Blind are hella popular. And now there's a Love is Blind Brazil and a Love is Blind UK and a Love is Blind somewhere else. Is it like Southeast Asia? What is it? India? Where's the Love is Blind? Mexico? Dubai. That's where it is. Dubai. And those even have subtitles. But this is a worldwide thing. Dr. Vivek Murthy, going back to my smart side, Dr. Vivek Murthy is an amazing researcher who discussed, right as the pandemic was starting, in his book called loneliness? No, belonging. No. Oh shoot. Together. It was called something like Together, and talked about being how it is to be in a sometimes lonely world. The epidemic of loneliness is affecting the world. Arranged marriages down. Marriages by way of love in a Western society down. People wanting to experiment with being with somebody and actually committing them down. Love and commitment is down. Reported rates of depression and loneliness through the roof, and loneliness higher than depression. I need you guys to hear this, man, because this is not for the faint of heart. we as a society need this love thing. We need some love. It's not negotiable at this point. And I really want to encourage people to start looking at themselves before they're looking at the aisle. Before you're looking at your partner in the face. Find yourself as interesting and amusing as you think you want someone else to find you. You're worth that time. And with that, I'm going to end these Wyann's words of wisdom and get in to these pay your dues. And as I like to say, before I get up and mother love and go. Dang, bang, dang. Oh, I forgot my nephew's here. My nephew's here. 2 episodes ago, this was the exact same thing that happened. And it was my niece that was here. Yay. Very short-lived moment. Pay your dues is where I big up businesses and places that I just think you all should know more about, because either they're run by folks I believe in or folks that I actually love and know already. So first off, I love the Do More Than You Knew at ILOVETHEDOUX. My cousins Maya and Brian Smith are the powerhouse couple behind the Do. My cousin Maya is the MC, the master of curl, and the founder of this company. Her products are all over the US. It was started in Germany, and it's definitely a hair product that works on all different hair types, especially textured hair like mine, hair like Onette, hair like Susie's, okay? But it can work also on ethnically diverse hair as well. I'm in love with her Press Play Thermal System line. It is the newest line, and I did my braids with Gangsta Rap, because she uses hip hop to brand all of her stuff. Gangsta Rap is what I did my braids with, and I was gonna unravel. I think I just liked it like this. That's why. Yeah, it's cute. It was gonna be cute either way. Yeah, and I just was tired of not being in front of this mic. I was ready to just get the fucking episode done. So yeah, I slicked everything down with her braid gel. Push It from the B-Girl collection. And yeah, dewdrops was the thing that made it shine. I did some of those that made it shine and everything. She has some hair jewelry stuff I think that she's going to be coming out with. I'm excited. I think if I heard her say that correctly, but she has just some of the coolest stuff ever. That's number one. Is that my niece? Okay, I'll leave it alone. My niece, aka my sister's cat, is wailing, and I don't know if you guys can hear it. I pray you can't hear this. Okay, number 2, Demore Beauty at DEMORBEAUTY. My baby girl Kylan, nails by Kylan. Look at this. Look at this that she did. And the first thing Onette said when she saw it, she said, oh my gosh, if everywhere that was black was white. For everybody listening, my nails look like they have flames on them almost, but not really. It's kind of like flames. I think we're going to go back to this because I want to do white, but I would want to do like January, like the winter months, and do white. Halloween just passed, but I don't know. My heart was just, I just wanted black. I wanted something dark, and I haven't done black in like forever. So she did these, and I absolutely, y'all know how I feel about my baby girl Kylan. And we all just had dinner last night, my angels and Kylan, and would have been a couple more of us. But I'm just very thankful to have all of these beautiful entrepreneur young ladies around me. Speaking of, number 3, Haroni Arrangements, HARONI arrangements on Instagram. If you can see, I know some of you are not here because you're listening only. If you pop over to YouTube or pop over to my Instagram, because I'll usually take some pictures and stuff like that. These are real. The flowers that are right to the left of me are completely real and gorgeous. These aren't real, but they're still gorgeous to my right. Again, if you're listening, this does nothing for you. If you're watching, like I think of Clouded Chris from AMP, and he was like, yo, your set design is outstanding. I said, I can't take credit. That is the angels. They do their thing. Yo, you said that we would be getting one every month. We've got one every month. Yes, this is just month 2, and it still counts. Period. I remember last year I was getting back in the gym, and it was 8 weeks. Remember what we did the other day? 7 weeks. It was 8 weeks till the end of 2023, and I said, what do I want to do? And I said, I'm going to be in this gym at least 3 times a week until the end of the year. And I dropped almost 20 pounds. But I remember when it was on day 2. Let me tell you something. I remember when it was on day 2, and I was like, I'm definitely going to the gym. And in my head, I was like, bitch, it's just day 2. And it's like, without day 2, I don't get to day 3. So never discount your progress, okay? I'm trying to tell you. Entrepreneur, business, and not with my nails looking fly. Can we see this? Just it. Like, whew. Okay, I need a picture of that. Like, that's very pretty. And Kylan said, can we get some pretty pictures? You know, so I was thinking about you. You'll do that. That was number 3. Number 4. How did you guys like them honey butter wings? Phyla. Those were so fire. They were Phyla. You understand me? Phyla. Let me tell you something. At chef_solo. Solo like Absol says solo ho. SOULO. So chef CHEF_SOULO. Chef Solo. Put his head, shoulders, knees and toes into these motherfucking honey butter wings and the fries, the jambalaya style fries. Hello. The Cajun Ranch. Hello. Look, this is making me feel away. Hold up. I'm like, wait, we almost done. We almost up out of this thing. But this is also he and my good homegirl, Jenny Jen on Instagram, are the founders of Billionaire Burger Boys. If you ever want to look that up, boys with a Z at the end. They've won several food truck shows on the Food Network and cooking competitions on the Food Network. They are the business. LA based, LA raised, born and raised, couple, just a dope ass couple that wakes up every day and chooses one another. Period. They choose one another and they choose them fucking honey butter wings. Talk to me nice if you talk to me ever. Hello. Whew. So next time we for Love Culture, next time we do something in LA, just know I do plan to see if I can't have some it has to be them, right? The Billionaire Burger Boys truck need to pull up. That's what it is. They are pulling up. Okay, so we okay. Speaking into existence, I forgot we about to have our vision board party next week. Okay, last and never. I think my titties keep. Last and never least, at RAISEITUPWY at Raise It Up Y across all platforms. More. At Raise It Up Y across all platforms. That's where you can find me. That's where you can find Love Culture, especially if you're on Instagram at RAISEITUPWY. All the love say. Rockets up on these hoes. If you go to the Raise It Up Y page on Instagram, look at the link in the bio, right under the link in the bio, excuse me, I apologize. That is the Love Culture Community Broadcast Channel, the LCC as it's become known, not the LBC, because I'm missing trying to find, and that's funny because it was Warren G's birthday yesterday. Of course, it's now past midnight. Do you know that's the party we were going to? It was Warren G's party. And I didn't want to tell you girls, so I wanted you guys to be surprised. And Battle Cat and all of them were going to be there. But it was a day party. And Wyann didn't have her day glasses on. I'm sorry, Warren. You know I love you. But I read that flyer incorrectly, and I thought that you were starting at 6, and you were not. You were ending at 6. And it makes sense because we're all 40 and up. Why would we on a Sunday do a late night gig? Why? As I'm doing a late night gig, taping this fucking show on a Sunday. Okay, loves, I've kept you long enough. We have survived the blackout of Veterans Day 2024. We are, damn, this is going to be a monster. Well, not a monster. Let me speak it how I'm going to say it. This is going to be a pleasure to edit. What is my niece? Do you know if you tell her reincarnated, I was stargazing, I was up looking for the broccoli. If you do that to her, and then at the end, Mr. Get Off, I get off and knock feet. I get off and mop feet. She will run to any hard surface and go, because she's seen the video so many times. And she also says wop, 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 wop. Twice. And that's the message with which I'll leave you on an episode about Is Love Blind? I love you guys. It's late as hell. Thank you for your non-refundable time and energy once again at the end of this podcast. Thank you for rocking out with us and supporting all of our endeavors, from Haroni.arrangements on Instagram to Demore Beauty to Wyann Vaughn at Raise It Up Y. Thank you. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for being here. And around this time of year, you know, the holidays and life is slowing down after we just, as a country, kind of got rocked a little bit. Hey, just like I said right after it happened on Instagram, hey, you're okay. You're okay. We're okay. All of us. We are okay, and we are going to continue to show ourselves how okay we are. All right? We're going to get through all of this. If people before us got through world wars, famines, slaveries, and depressions, hey, we can get by with someone people may not necessarily like for the next couple of years. We'll be fine. You'll be able to get through these holidays with people you may not like for the next couple of weeks. We'll be fine. I love y'all. Thank you for rocking with us. Love culture community. Stay real.
Raise it up, why? Raise it up. Raise it up, why? Raise it up. Hey, raise it up, why? Raise it up. Raise it up, why? Hey, raise it up. Hey, raise it up, why? Raise it up.